Hey, what is going on, you guys? How to Tech here, back with another video, and today I'm going to be showing you how to make cool looking thumbnails for your YouTube videos, because I know at first it could be pretty difficult and annoying, so let's get right into the video. Okay, so the first thing you're going to do is go to this website, Gimp. Now, I'm sure you've heard of this program. It is like a free alternative to Photoshop, except the difference is it's a lot lighter, so it's not going to bog down your system and should run on almost any hardware, and the learning curve is nowhere near as steep. It can still be a little annoying at times because some tools are lacking, but for making thumbnails, it is a great program. So what you're going to do is just click this giant orange download button, and then run and install the program. So now that we have Gimp installed, what you're going to want to do is go to dafont.com, and here you can download thousands upon thousands of free fonts, and this is where I got all mine for my thumbnails. Now, I'm going to leave a link to a couple of the fonts that I use down in the description below, because they are very popular and used by a lot of YouTubers, and they stand out and look great in thumbnails. Okay, now for the last thing, what you're going to want to do is go over to Google Images so we can get some backgrounds for our thumbnails. Now, this is where I get most of mine from. You can always take the picture yourself, or use an in-game screenshot, something like that, depending on what video you're making. But this is where I get all mine from. You can see there's a lot of simple ones here. A good term to search is radial backgrounds. But after you find a couple backgrounds, fonts, and you have Gimp installed, let's head into Gimp itself and let's get started making the thumbnail. Okay, so now that we're in Gimp, you should have a screen that looks exactly like this. This is the default Gimp window setup, and all you're going to want to do from here is go to File in the top left corner and open your main background that you chose for your thumbnail. Okay, so next you want to do File again, and this time open as layers. And now you're going to open any secondary picture that you want to paste on your background. In my case, that is this PC right here. And then what you want to do is go over to the size tool, make sure you double click it, and then in the bottom left corner, click keep aspect ratio. That way when we resize the image, it won't stretch or anything or disform. So now you just drag one corner and pull down, and make sure it fits roughly how you want it in the thumbnail. That's up to you. And now what we're going to do is just take the move tool and move the whole image in the center so we can see the whole thing and edit it from there. Okay, so now that that's done, you want to go over to the bucket tool on the left, double click it, make sure you change the mode to color erase instead of normal. Then when that's done, change it to the background color instead of foreground, and go to the bottom and change the threshold to around 40 if you're doing a black on white image like I am, but if it's not, then make a lower selection. Then on the right hand side, you want to right click and add alpha channel. Now you only do all this if there's white space or a color around the image that you want. So then you just click on the image and it'll erase the background space. And you'll see there's a shadow that's a little left over, so I'm going to zoom in and get a closer look at that so I can also erase the shadow. So even when I click on the shadow, it doesn't get rid of it entirely. So what I'm going to have to do is switch out to the eraser tool, and I'm going to use that to just overall clean up the image, get rid of that white outline. So this will take a minute, it depends on the image. See, like I said, some images don't have background space at all, and it'll just be the main image without any background or white around it, and those are the best to use. But if you download a JPEG file like I did, which is the only version I could find of this PC case that I wanted for my thumbnail, then you're going to have white space around the image all the time. It takes 2 minutes to fix, it's not too big of a deal. But after you get it all cleaned up, I'm going to jump ahead to that. So now that that's all done, now what you want to do is go over to the text tool. And after you do that, make a box bigger than the text that you want, so roughly pretty big. The extra space doesn't matter, but we're going to need it. And then you're going to type in whatever you want it to say, so I'm going to go with insane because this is one of my PC build thumbnails. And then you'll highlight the text, change the size, pick the font you want, and the color, do all that right now. I'm using the font Pilsen Placket, which I'll link in the description because it's great for thumbnails, and the color white. So just wait until you get a size and everything that you're comfortable with and think is going to look good. Now that that is done, what you want to do now is just adjust it finally, put it exactly where you want it, because we're not going to really move it from now on. And then go over to the right hand side here, right click on the text and duplicate layer, so that will make a copy of the word that we have on the screen. And then you want to right click the copy, which is on the bottom below the regular version, and do alpha to selection. Then come over to the top left corner, click on select, and then border, And then I recommend 8 to 12 for a 720p image like this. And then all you want to do is change the color that you want. And I would go with red, black, something solid that stands out. And after you do that, to input the border, you'll see that there's dotted lines around the letters. All you have to do is tap Control, comma, or Command, comma if you're on a Mac, and that will insert the border. So now, to do the gradient like I did in the 150, just go over to the right hand side and you're going to right click the text that you want. Make sure it's the layer on top and not the black border that we did underneath it like in before. So you're going to right click the bottom layer and then do alpha to selection. And then you want to come over to the gradient tool, which is over on the left hand side here. And there's a few options you can play around with. There are so many here. One we're going to use today is the gold orange preset, but you can select your own colors and do patterns however you like. So find one that you want, and once you get it selected, all that you need to do is, like I said, make sure that the text is selected, otherwise you will add a gradient to the whole image. And then just click and drag, play around with it, get a pattern that you like. As you can see, the direction that I click and drag is the direction that the gradient will go in. So play around with that, find one that you want, like I did with the 150, and now I like this, what we have here on the gaming PC. And then now lastly, I'm going to be showing you how to add shadows to your images. So we're going to add a white shadow to the PC case there. So now finally for the last step and adding a backdrop shadow to an item. So go over to the item and right click it and make a copy like we've been with duplicating the layers. So I duplicated the PC over on the right hand side, and then you're going to do alpha to selection like we've been doing. And at the top here there's a filters tab. So if you go to the filters tab and then you're going to look around, follow me, and then we're going to locate drop shadow. So when you find drop shadow, make sure you copy these settings. You want 0 and 0 for both offsets. Now the radius is how wide the shadow is, so try it a couple times, find one until you like it. And the same for the opacity, that's just how strong or how dark the shadow is. And then I'm going to go with a white shadow for this one. So I'm going to play around with it, let's see how this one looks. And it's a little light for me, I want one that's a little darker, so I'm going to go undo. I'm going to play around with it until I find a shadow that I like. So I'm going to fast forward until I find a shadow that suits this thumbnail. So finally, after all of that, we finally finished the thumbnail, and now all that we have to do is save it. So we'll go again to File, and instead of Save As, that's just going to save this project and not the actual image. Make sure you select Export As, and then name it as a PNG. So I'll just name this thumbnail.png and save it to my desktop, and then enter. And that was it for today's video. So I hope that you learned how to make a thumbnail. It was kind of annoying for me to learn at first, but now that I got it down, I'm happy to show you guys how to do it. So thank you for watching. Stay tuned for more videos. Leave a like, give me a comment how this worked out for you, or if you used my tutorial at all. So subscribe for more tutorials like this. Thank you for watching. How To Tech, signing out.